Thank you very much.
Let me do the pledge again.
We are there. Who is up? Yes. All right. We'll call to order this November 9th, 2020 meeting of the Tecumseh Board of Education. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Ms. Brooks.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Having two flags keeps it fun.
Thank you, Becky. Leading off tonight's meeting, we have good news. Mr. Hilldooley?
Yes, we have two items of good news on the agenda. First, we want to make an official introduction. You've had kind of a virtual introduction of our new high school principal, Dennis Niles. Dennis, please stand. Dennis has worked here for a week and a day and fitting in very well as we anticipated, having been on this site before at a different time. Really, I think, stabilizes what otherwise could have been maybe a difficult transition. So very happy to have Dennis here. Normally we would walk around and shake hands, but we don't do that in our culture anymore. So just appreciate you being here. And the rest of the administrative team, they've got parent-teacher conferences 5/12 this week, so it'll be a long one all week. But thank you for everyone for being here and supporting Dennis as well. Welcome.
Welcome, Dennis.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And we have a presentation by members of the Kiwanis Club of Tecumseh.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Yes. We have been giving dictionaries to third graders for several years. And teachers have always liked them and the kids have used them. But we got to thinking about, we're with, Mary and I are with the Youth Services Committee. And we just discussed about the technology and the kids working from home, that they needed hotspots and headsets. So as a group, we decided this year to donate some money instead of the dictionaries to the technology department to help in any way that you could help it. Because we appreciate what everybody does, the teachers, the school board does for the schools, because we try to get to the kids that education is the thing. So whatever we can do, we're here to help. Anytime you guys need help, and we always need members in Kiwanis. So if anybody'd like to be a Kiwanian,
So we're giving $500,
Yes.
right, Ron?
$500. Yes.
Right. That's a lot of nuts. That's a little bit of flags,
Yes.
but hopefully it'll help out.
Yes. And so I guess to Rick.
Sure.
Watch your step.
We very much appreciate the support. It was, like they said, in a normal year, it would be a dictionary donation or a donation for dictionaries. But under these extraordinary circumstances, we thank you very much to fit kind of a niche need that you never had thought that we would have. But there are definitely families who may need this support, and our tech department can certainly use it. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That'll bring us to our public comment on agenda items only. Is there anyone for public comment? Does not appear so. Let's move on to a revision or approval of the agenda. Does anyone have a revision for the agenda tonight? All right, could I get a motion to approve the agenda as written, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote. Tim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Becky?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Agenda is approved as written. First agenda item is the scheduled reports, the monthly finance report. Kelly?
Good evening, Board. Cash on hand for October 31st is $10,537,654.22. The board also received the monthly check register for October. Total check out the door for that period is $1,289,900. The revenue collected for year to date for the period July through October 31st is $10,270,437. Total expenditures for that same time period is $6,076,030. And the board also received the comparative reports, or comparisons of revenue, current revenue versus revenue for the previous year for that same time period, and also the expenditures. Mostly, you can say that the differences between the 2 years boil down to COVID relief funds, either the receipt of them from the government or spending on items on others.
All right. Kelly, how are we looking with our budget projections? Is the state letting that carrot get any closer to us here, or are they still stringing us along?
So I did have a conversation with Elisa this week on the fourth period or the fourth week of student count due complete last Tuesday. She's still working on gathering all the data because there is a lot more complexity involved this year. Don't have an official FTE number for this evening, and thus no budget to derive for that. But we certainly have something next meeting.
All right. Thank you. Anyone have any questions for Kelly? It's a quiet group tonight. All right. Thank you very much, Kelly. Next item on the agenda, discussion items. First discussion item, school board election results.
Just want to acknowledge briefly that we filled the 3 vacancies on the board with the election. All of the ballots were in and counted. And we have a couple of new members that will be coming on. Tony Rebatero and Greg Lewis are in the audience tonight. Thank you, gentlemen, for attending and working on your transition. Appreciate that. And Vice President Brooks regained her seat as well. So we will welcome the 2 new board members at the January organizational meeting. They've onboarded with some materials and expressed interest in training from MASB, and we will keep them in the loop with updates as they take their seats in January. Thank you for coming tonight, gentlemen.
Thank you. I reached out to them and started the onboarding process, and Rick has also started his onboarding process. So they are well underway, and come the first of the new year, they should be turnkey, ready to go and up to date with real-time information to work with. So welcome. Next on the discussion item, substitute teacher pay rate. Rick?
Brought this issue up to the board. I really on behalf of the teachers, because what we're seeing, and admins, you know this as well, a day doesn't go by that we don't fill every job. And we have to move people around in the buildings. The building principals have to supervise classrooms at times. And one of the reasons that was brought to us by teachers was that substitutes tell them that Tecumseh's pay rate is lower than other places in the county. So Terry did the research, and you have the spreadsheet in front of you. If you can read it, it's rather small font. We're not on the low end, but we're not on the high end. So there are options for substitutes to take jobs in other districts that pay. Even a $5 difference is important enough for a substitute teacher to opt for another opportunity. So I simply wanted to bring this information to the board's attention to see if there was anything that you wanted to do in terms of altering this pay rate. It certainly wouldn't completely turn our budget over if we put ourselves at the high end, and might provide some relief for our teachers and administration in the daily operations. So you've had a chance to take a look at this. We can try to answer questions, but I'd be interested in your discussion on the topic.
How many subs do we have a year?
Is it a daily thing or is it, four a week or how many per week do you think?
I'll try to answer the first question first. The number of subs who are registered, building principals, what would you say that there are in the pool of subs? Is it 100?
No, I'm sorry. I mean, day. I guess I'm looking for like, what's our annualized cost for subs?
Oh, annual sub cost? I don't know that number.
I mean, if we raise it to the high end, what are we talking about as far as additional expense on an average year?
I think that if we raised it from 85 to, what would it be, up to 90?
Well, the highest is 130 for Adrian.
That's for retired teachers.
Well, wait,
Is that,
okay.
I think?
Okay, teacher, non-retired.
A non-retired
What's the highest?
general sub in Adrian is
Highest I see is 90
90. Yep.
and we're at 85.
We're at 85. Yep.
So we're talking
as far as
$5 a
Right.
day.
Yep. We're talking $5 a day.
So raise it $7 a day and we'll get the best subs.
That's a possibility.
I mean, we're talking dollars.
Yeah. There's no rule that says that it's got to be a 5 or a 0.
Right. That's why I'm wondering what the annual cost is. Like, if we're talking about the difference between $5 or $7,
Okay.
it can't
All
be
right.
that
We'll get that
dramatic.
information so that you have it when we make
Yeah.
decisions next meeting. Find out
You're
what
right.
the
You're right.
projection
It's a
is.
matter
What do
of
we have,
is it
180
a
school days?
five teachers a day that we're talking about?
We have 180 school days, right?
We, within the district, under these circumstances, see, we aren't doing offsite trainings and we aren't doing as many conferences and things
Right.
like that. So the demand for sub, I think this year is down a little bit. But right now we have a couple of people who can't teach because their child's quarantined. So they're forced to be at home and we have to have a sub. We have a couple of people out for extended medical leaves. So in the district on a regular day, anywhere between 3 and maybe as many as 15 subs on a daily basis. So
We have-
if you took an average of 10, you're talking $50 a day.
For 180
180 days? Is that this school
times
year?
$50.
Yeah, you're talking less than 20 grand. So
Right.
we should pay them 95 or 93 or something. Make us the highest rate so we get the better subs.
It certainly would at least fight the argument that we miss out on subs because of pay.
Right. And that was an argument we've heard before, so.
Right. And we were a little surprised actually, because I didn't remember what the sub rate was when I got back here, but in the comparison chart, like I said, we're not the high end, but we're also not the low end.
Yeah.
So-
yeah. I mean, Madison, who gets more money for the kids than we do, they're doing 75.
Right.
So
Well, I believe that being at the high end is not going to break us in our budget. It really wouldn't be noticeable even. And I think it's a pretty good idea if we don't want to overshoot the high in the county too much here, but we do want to be sure that we're paying the premium prices to get the subs that we need. We can't pull in our principals to cover teachers that are gone every day.
Right.
And that's the alternative as far as I know.
Right. Well, and we're doing things like reassigning reading specialists and pulling instructional assistants that have the substitute certification. So there is an opportunity cost somewhere.
Yeah.
Something has to be left undone as a result of all the juggling that they have to do to make things work. And if we were able to get subs to fill jobs, then it would stop that from happening.
And for sure, if we're pulling staff from other areas, we're really pulling them from the student support for that day. Whatever student they would have been supporting, they're not. So
Right.
that's not a favorable situation and well worth the investment to pay a little bit more for subs.
Yeah, it's instructional services, which is the fundamental reason for schools existing. So it's positive in my opinion.
You want to put it as an action item next time?
Well, do we even have to have it as an action item, or can you just make the change?
As a budget.
I mean, it's de
My
minimis,
suggestion would be, let's do a little bit of a costing out to make sure that you guys have the actual numbers. I mean, it's a problem that's existed from the beginning of the year, so.
Right.
2 more weeks, I think we can get through to make sure that you have accurate information. I'm not even 100% sure what Nikki maybe had in the budget for projected cost, but if it was a rollover of projected costs from last year and our sub-demand is down from this year, there may not need to be an increase, and that's something that Kelly would have to analyze to make sure that maybe we can fit this extra cost into what was projected.
Would it suffice for the board to have them get the updated financial information, get the answers we need, put it on next 2 weeks' agenda as both a discussion item to get that update? Are you comfortable with leaving it on as an action item following that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we have concurrence, so we'll put it on as a discussion and an action item. We'll get the numbers and take action on it.
Yeah, if we could just see an annual cost for like the last 3 years, and then show us what a $5 change would be and a $10 change would be.
Okay.
Right now, we're not even paying $12 an hour, are we?
Yeah.
I mean, you go to McDonald's and Super Burger for $12.
Right.
All right, any further discussion? All right, let's move on to our next discussion item, which is our 2020-2021 first budget revision.
It sort of got mentioned already that we're just wanting to be as careful as possible about the revisions in the budget. And the other half of the equation is student count. So when we get that information, and Kelly can be a little bit more confident and accurate in her projections, you have the revised budget, and it shows a pretty healthy fund balance and making some additions to programs that really need the additions. So we'll come to you for action on the budget next time. Again, if you have questions, you want to know detail about any of the items that are either in the budget or that were added to the revised budget, please let us know.
I haven't seen the revised budget. I saw some chicken scratches on a piece of paper of things we're gonna add, but I haven't seen a revised budget that breaks everything down. So.
We'll have the full revised budget next meeting when it's
Correct.
presented
You'll
to the
get a
board.
line item detailed budget next meeting.
Okay.
And it'll be in the packet, so you'll have it Friday before.
I think the budget's contingent on getting the final numbers for student funding, and that's really what's been hanging us up for the longest time here, so.
Yeah, we feel pretty good about it, but we just want to make sure.
All right, any further discussion regarding that? Moving right along, we have a budget committee meeting of November 9th, 2020. Rebecca Brooks.
So shortly before this meeting, we had our budget committee meeting. And essentially what we have, we're discussing in that is refunding the mill debt. And doing that will save taxpayers about $2 million. So that is something that we are working on.
Good, and to clarify, not each taxpayer.
No, not each taxpayer,
Darn. Okay,
taxpayers.
all right. And that'll take us right to our action items. We have the donation tonight from the Kiwanis Club. Can I get a motion, please?
So move.
I hereby move to accept with thanks the $500 donation from the Kiwanis Club of Tecumseh to purchase hotspots for elementary students.
Support.
I'll give the second to Ed. Roll call. Tim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Becky?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We thank you again for that donation. We move on to our consent agenda. Could I get a motion, please?
No, I don't have it in front of me.
Okay. I hereby move to approve the
Cheat
consent
sheet.
agenda, which
Cheat
includes
sheet.
the following items. Minutes from the regular board meeting of October 26, 2020, and October 2020 monthly check registry.
Support.
Support from Ed. Roll call vote. Tim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Becky?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Unanimously accepted. On to our superintendent's report. Rick?
Just a couple of things. We're going to go through the facilitated evaluation next time. We'll probably meet beforehand, do that in executive session, and be guided through that with a member of the MASB staff. It's the first time with this particular tool for me as a superintendent and for many of you as well. So I think the guided process will be important, and provided the self-evaluation for you. And as I mentioned in my update, still not exactly sure how to handle the student growth data.
Right.
So I'm working with MASB to try to come up with something for us to work with on the 23rd. And I'll keep you updated about that. And then just want to mention, I updated you today that we did over the weekend have a positive case come to our attention from one of our instructional assistants in the third grade. And that put an entire classroom out in the distance setting. Jamie and Tricia took care of the phone calls over the weekend, got in touch with all the parents. Denise made the report to the health department, and we have the information posted on our website in compliance with the regulations. And their projected return date is the 19th of November. So that's, I guess, one of the nice benefits of the cohorts is that if something like that happens, the tracing is relatively simple. So it does, for that particular class, mean that they're out for a while, but it doesn't impact the grade level or the building when we're cohorted that way. So at least that's positive. Everywhere else in the buildings right now, we don't have anything else to report at this time for COVID. Where every day is a new day, and you don't know exactly where the cases are going to come from. But we have, going into week 10 of the school year, we can still say that we're not necessarily the source of an outbreak in the school system. Things that are happening are coming from outside of the district, and we're having to react as a result. So that at least gives us the feedback that the things that we're doing, the protocols that we're following, the hand sanitizing and the distancing and the cleaning, the masks, all seem to be going in our favor right now. And that, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be the trend across Michigan. I read today that there are more than 50 school districts in the state of Michigan that do have outbreaks. So that's 3 or more cases in a particular area. So right now, things are going our way, at least a little bit. And, any day that could change if the wrong person who has contact with lots of people in a building comes up positive. So continue to update you as things become apparent. That's all I have.
All right. Are any questions for Rick? All right. Item scheduled for the next agenda. We'll have good news. Don't know what it'll be, but we've always got good news, so we'll give it to you. Discussion items, refunding of the 2015 refunding bonds. Action items will include the 2020 and 2021 first budget revisions and the extended continuity of learning plan, our monthly recertification as it may be. We'll also have our superintendent's evaluation, which will start with a closed session. Rick, are we planning on meeting at 7, or are we going to meet earlier due to the closed session?
Terry and I talked about meeting earlier. She was going to call and make sure that people could do that if maybe we met at 5:30, possibly had something provided for dinner, and then go into the evaluation portion. Shouldn't take more than an hour, but like I said, it's a guided process, so just be prepared with a little extra time.
All right, we'll have Terry coordinate that with the board members, and we will have that information posted. So if we go into closed session at 7, the public will be well aware they'll be sitting here board for a while.
All right. more than usual.
More than usual. I try to spice it up. All right, that brings us to our closing. Public comment on any item. Do we have any public comments on any item? Quiet crowd still. Board member comments, discussion. Board members? And that'll bring us right to our adjournment. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
For the record, new members, we always have 25-minute meetings.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a record.
Meeting